What's up guys, Mad Max here, and today I am going to talk about my 392 Wrangler and do some modifications. Stay tuned. Alright, so let's start off with some quick specs. This is a 2022 Wrangler Rubicon 392 with the Extreme Recon package. And I emphasize that because apparently Jeep wants it emphasized. The Extreme Recon package, as you probably know if you're watching this video, adds bigger tires, different wheels, 456 gears. It changes a couple things with the suspension and adds a reinforced hinge gate, which is basically a fancy way of saying we reinforce the area where the heavier spare tire mounts. As you saw in the last video, I did an AEV exhaust on this, which you can hear. Right now, valve's closed because I do not want to make enemies in my neighborhood. And I also did rock slide engineering side steps, which I did off camera, and a couple other little BS things on the truck. Okay, so what are my likes with this truck? Well, for starters, the engine. I'm driving around town. I can't get on it that hard right now. Plus, it's cold. So, the engine. That is the big talking point in this truck. It is the only factory Hemi convertible. Now, there are some people that are watching this video going, but Max, you can buy a Challenger convertible. That car is sent out to a third party to have its roof chopped off and turned into a convertible, and it's done after production is finished. Not like, say, a 944 convertible where it got sent to ASC McLaren, got its roof chopped off, and then got put on the window sticker afterwards and kind of got finished up with Porsche. This is truly the only factory Hemi convertible. And I'm going to say Hemi a lot right now, but Hemi, Hemi, Hemi. That's what this truck is about. It's a big, brutish vehicle that makes a lot of noise and looks really cool. And with the top off, the noise is ridiculous, especially with this exhaust on it. It is ear-piercing. People will know that you're coming from 2 towns away. Plus, it's a Jeep. You know, everybody, well, not everybody loves Jeeps, but for the most part, people like Jeeps. Puts a smile on their face. It's an interesting looking vehicle. You know, it has that kind of presence where people go, oh, that is built for a very specific purpose, like a sports car. It just happens to go off-road instead of going on-road or ripping around a track. Overall, it's really cool. I mean, it's something that you can run over things without caring about, and it makes cool noise. What could be bad about this thing? Well, there are a lot of things to not like about this Jeep. When I first started selling cars, I started at Jeep, and I sold AEV Wranglers, which they did V8 swaps before this ever came out. And I wasn't really that exposed to European vehicles and how refined they are. This truck isn't, and it never will be. Then that's fine. But this thing doesn't handle well. And when I say it doesn't handle well, I mean, I think a 2500 or 3500 pickup truck handles better than this. I also think a 2500 and 3500 pickup truck will stop better than this. And those are things that are a little concerning. Again, people will complain, well, you know, it's an off-road truck, what do you expect? It's a Jeep, what do you expect? You're right, it's a Jeep. I expected it to not handle well. My expectations were low, but damn. It is what it is. It's still significantly better than a stock JK, and the Extreme Recon package makes it handle much better, but it's still not there. And before anybody says, well, you know, there are compromises to go off-road, yeah, I get that. But I've driven Jeep G-Wagons, 4x4 square G-Wagons, Land Rover Defenders, 4Runners, Broncos. They drive better on road. There's no denying it. You know, there has to be something that can be done about this. Furthermore, the seats. Well, I don't have a good back. In fact, my back has a couple herniated discs right now. And the factory seat puts me in discomfort after about a half hour. So I am looking to fix that. Interior quality, to be expected of an American car. It is no better and no worse than a Bronco. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, the Bronco has more technology in it, but the actual quality of the interior, there's no real difference. So anybody that tells you that, they're kind of full of it. The one thing I do really like about the Bronco compared to this is that it has power seats, which this does not have, which allows for more adjustability on the base. So yeah, it's a little bit of a letdown inside, and it's a little bit of a letdown in the handling department and braking department as well. I aim to fix that. Now, after saying all those wonderful things about the Bronco, about how the seats are more comfortable and the suspension is more compliant on road and handles better, doesn't really stop any better, maybe a little bit. Why am I not sitting in a Bronco? Well, it goes back to the engine. There is no V8 in a Bronco. Doesn't matter if you get regular one, a Raptor, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have this V8. It doesn't make this noise. And that's a huge selling point for me. Yes, the Defender is available with a V8, and it is awesome. I have not gotten a chance to drive it, but, you know, 550 horsepower in a 2-door or 4-door Defender, it's gotta be awesome. It's a really cool truck. But it's also, you know, $120 plus $30,000 to $50,000 of market adjustment, we'll call it. Same thing with Bronco Raptor. Bronco Raptor, I have not driven yet, again, but it's definitely overall better off-road than this truck. However, once again, with insane dealer markups, it's out of the price range of what you buy one of these 392s for. Do I think the 392 or any Wrangler will perform better in certain off-road circumstances? Yes, 100%. However, overall, that Bronco Raptor is sick. But it's missing a cool engine. An EcoBoost only goes so far. It doesn't make the noise that this truck does, and it doesn't give you that same kind of feel on the road. I said what I said. One last complaint I completely forgot to put into my negatives list. Jeep, why did you put cylinder deactivation in this truck? Why? Do you think that if I bought a 6.4 liter Hemi with 470 horsepower, that I care about 1 mpg difference? Come on, really? All it does is create annoying exhaust drone, and it's the dumbest thing ever. The truck will never get good gas mileage. I don't care how aggressive you make the 4-cylinder mode. Unless you chop off 4 cylinders, you are not making a significant change in the fuel mileage. Why? And make it so I can deactivate it in JScan, which unfortunately you cannot. You have to get HP tuners or something and void your warranty to get rid of the super annoying cylinder deactivation. This is is the level of off-roading that 95% of Broncos and Wranglers see. Why am I bringing this up now? Well, because a lot of people are going to criticize me for saying, hey, I want to make this better on-road. And while I am self-conscious standing here watching traffic go by, man, I picked a busy spot to show this off. Now that I've watched all the traffic go by here, the reason why I'm talking about this level of off-roading is because I want to make this truck better on-road. And I'm not saying anything bad about YouTubers that modify their trucks to go off-roading and take them off-road, because they're actually using them as intended. But 95% of people aren't. So why not make this better for on-road? And don't tell me it's not doable, because the 4Runner drives better on-road, the Bronco drives better on-road, the G-Wagon drives better on-road, the Defender. You get my idea here. There's got to be a way to make this better on-road, so I'm going to do a few mods to make this a little bit more palatable to drive every day. So let's get into it. Okay, so I am going to start my crusade on making this Jeep a little bit better for driving on the road with these. Now, what are these? These are seat jackers, and let me show you what exactly they do. Okay, so if you notice here, the seat looks pretty flat, and that's because it is. Well, the problem is, for people like me, I need a seat that gives me a little bit of lift in the front, because the way my legs sit is my thighs go up and then down, and I have no support here. So what these things do is that they bolt in right here and somewhere over there that you can't really see because of the light, and they lift the front of the seat up. Now you can buy these things and lift the seat either 3/4 of an inch or 1.5 inches in the front, and then this ratcheting piece right here will allow you to kind of tilt the back of the seat up and down and give you more adjustability. If you have a Bronco, you're probably laughing at me right now because you have power seats that do this already. But anyway, let's get started with it. We're going to need some Torx bolts, Torx sockets. We are going to need some Allen head sockets for these, and a torque wrench. So let me start tearing this thing apart. Alright, so just to show you guys real quick, I loosened up these two T50s in the back, and then once those are loosened up, you then take your seat, slide it back again so you can get to these. You have one bolt there and one bolt right there, and you need to remove those. Now I got a drill because I didn't want to sit here all day with my ratchet, so let me pull these out. Alright, so once you have the two front bolts removed, you can then move your seat around, which is not exactly something that I would recommend if you're driving the car, but that's what you need to get these guys in. So the smaller one goes on the transmission tunnel side, the larger one goes on this side. So let me pop open this package and I will show you how they go in. Okay, so now that you have your seat spacers, or seat jackers as they are called, put in, you use the 30mm bolts and thread them into the car itself, and then torque those to 35 foot-pounds. Then you put the seat down, put the 20mm bolts in. Okay, so now that I have torqued all 4 bolts, including the 2 back ones, you can now see the seat sits slightly tilted towards the back. So let me hop in it, adjust my seat, and see how it feels. Okay, so let me preface this by saying that I have not even driven the truck yet with the seat jackers installed, but it already makes a huge difference. I feel much more support right here, and as you can see, I am plus sized and a short king, let's call it. And it helps out a lot. I'm actually really surprised by this. I was really doubtful that a little piece of metal could make that big of a difference, even for the $100, which is a little expensive for a chunk or two of billet aluminum. But it made a huge difference. At my under 6-foot stature, would I want to do the 1.5-inch seat jackers? No, definitely not. But with the 3/4-inch ones, big difference. I was also hesitant. They make a version where it just drops the back of the seat. That might work out really well for me as well, because now I feel like I'm sitting a little higher. But this works out really well, and I feel more comfortable than I ever have in this truck. I really thought that I was going to be in for doing a set of $6,000 Recaro Sportsters with integrated side airbags, but I think I'm going to hold off on that for now. I definitely have to drive it like this for now and see, but it made a big difference, and I'm surprisingly happy with it. All right, so next modification is an AEV steering stabilizer. I guess you could call it a suspension modification, but it's really for steering. Now, just to show you guys, this is specifically valved for AEV. It is a high-performance steering stabilizer, and hopefully it will solve some of the steering hunting issues that the Wrangler has. Now, I could show you how to install this, but it's really a question of take 2 bolts out, put this in, and bolt them back in. If the bolt doesn't fit correctly, AEV provides one that is correctly sized. That's really it. I don't really think you guys want to watch me install this. So let me pop it in. There's the stock one. And this is the new steering damper. It's 2 bolts. I mean, if you follow the instructions, there's nothing for me to describe. It's 2 bolts. And it took me maybe 15 minutes to put in. Okay, so it's installed. The steering, do I want to say it feels different? I do, but I don't know how much of that is placebo effect. It feels a little different, but it, I don't know. It feels a little bit more, how can I say it? It feels like the steering is a little bit less snappy almost, but it also feels like it's more comfortable, like it's not going to hunt as much. Yeah, I mean, I feel a little bit of a difference. There's definitely a noticeable change. The real question is how does it handle at highway speeds where the truck would normally hunt around? Okay, now I'm on a road where I can do 50. It feels different, for sure. It feels like I'm hunting a lot less with the steering wheel, and the other thing I just noticed from going over a fairly large bump is it doesn't feel like the steering wheel wants to rip out of my hands when I hit a bump on one side. It's still not going to make it sports car or even Bronco Defender precise, but it made a difference. And for the 130 something bucks, I think it was, by the time it was shipped, I think it's worth it. You know, it takes, if you have the sockets and you have a torque wrench, it'll take you maybe 20 minutes to put it in, and there's enough of a difference where I think it justifies it. I'm still, you know, I'm still making little corrections, but a lot of that has to do with the dead zone in the steering box in the truck more than the steering stabilizer. And I think that this heavy-duty steering stabilizer has done something. So overall, would I say to buy this? Yeah. For the money, I think it's worth it. If you told me it was $300 or $400, I don't think I would do it. But at the current pricing, yeah. All right, it's cold and rainy here, and the next modification, and the last one for this video, is going to be these dash panels that I had painted by Distinction Applied. So let me go over that while I'm sitting in the car so it's not raining on the camera. So, check these out. These are done by a company called Distinction Applied. And what they do is they take these factory panels and they paint them however you want. Now, if you notice, the chrome rings are missing. We're going to transfer those from the factory plastic piece as well as all of the vents. They will all bolt in here, which, just so you guys can see from the back. Got a couple little holes here, and that's where you mount them up. This particular one has a little clip missing here, so we'll have to swap that over. No big deal. Looks like they actually separate this and then plastic weld it back together, which is perfectly acceptable, and the finish is pretty good. These were $519 for the set. The other one is sitting on the bench right now. And they give you $250 back if you send in your old panels, which I'm on the fence on if I'm going to send them back in, just because I like to have my stock parts. But it is nice to know that when you get that $250 back, it's basically the same cost as handing these to a local body shop, except a local body shop probably won't take this apart right here. They probably won't take that apart and probably won't spray it as nicely as these guys do. So I really do like that, and I like that they do a lot of these so they know exactly how to take them apart. The other benefit is, as I said, you know, netting out, it's about the same cost, maybe a touch more, but you don't have to leave your car apart for a few days to a week while a body shop paints these panels. So definitely worth it to have them do it. As I said, probably going to keep my stock one. I'm really on the fence on that. But first I'm going to pop this in and see how it looks. So let me show you real quick how to do it. I am not going to film again the installation process because it's pretty well covered online. I mean, these JLs, do you people really want to see me take this truck apart? I don't think you do, because you have 30 other videos you can watch where people probably do it better than I do. But let me just run down what you need to do to install these, and yeah, we'll get to putting them in. And I guess I'll show you the end result. So hold on, let me show you how it goes in. Okay, so we have our full panel. The first thing that pops off is this climate control. You use a plastic pry tool, pop that out. There's a screw under here that holds this in. And then there's a screw somewhere up here behind this that holds this top panel in, and then the top panel pops out. And then as you can see on this panel, there's a few screws that run along the top, and there's some clips on the back for the driver's side. On the passenger side, you don't have to take out this handle, but it makes it a lot easier to take out this handle. You have to take out this little piece back here, pop it out again with a pry tool. And then, since this will already be out, you pop that out and swap out the plastic piece there. I would highly suggest you disconnect the battery because the passenger airbag is right there. And you do have to remove the passenger airbag from the vehicle to put it on the new plastic piece to reinstall it in here. So, disconnect the battery just to be on the safe side, unless you want to get hit in the face with an airbag. Okay, well, I spoke a little too soon on showing you guys how to install the dash and that I wasn't going to do any filming. There are a couple things I ran into which I felt needed to be addressed. And what you're seeing right now is me rolling around my flashlight. So, let me just switch over here. Got my handy-dandy Harbor Freight here. Yes, I still have the battery connected. I will disconnect it before I unplug the airbag, but I wanted it plugged in. First off, this pops out, pry from this side, pops out that way. This is all clips. There are 2 screws here that hold in this surround around here. There's 1 screw that holds the dash in here. Now I know you're going to say, wait a minute, this thing isn't coming out. And that's because it's in there really tight. This part came out very easily, as I said, once you took out the 2 screws. A lot of people show removing the radio screen. You don't have to do it. I just did the driver's side, no issue. Doesn't overlap this, doesn't overlap here. So there's no reason why you have to remove that screen, nor do you have to remove the 2 screws that are under this little plastic thing up top. What you do have to remove is 4 screws on the top here, 4 screws on the top there. Once you remove the 4 screws on the top on this side, this just pops out. held in with plastic clips, super easy. On this side, because we have an airbag, we have to do a few more things. Namely, removing the glove box. The first thing I want to show, before you do anything with the glove box, there's a little damper right here. And I will try and hold the flashlight and do this at the same time, but I already loosened this. It's snapped in, you push it up and pop it out, and then remove your glove box as normal. Okay, so now that you have removed your glove box, you see these two bolts that I'm struggling to light up here and trying to shoot on my phone at the same time? Those two bolts at the top of your screen, folks, you need to take those two out, as well as unplug that yellow connector there. That's your airbag connector. Those are your 13mm bolts. And, of course, those two screws right there and the little panel that covers it, which I have, I think, sitting over there somewhere. I've already installed this red dash, as you can see, so I'm going to just put the bolts back in and start reassembling here. Okay, so one other thing I forgot to mention, the upper dash panel that you yank towards you. Start from the passenger side, work your way towards the driver's side. Right in this area, it's going to get real tough to pull out. I had to yank so hard that the clip actually stayed in there, and the rest of the dash panel came out, and I had to put the clip back on the upper dash pad. Don't be surprised. I don't know, it must be something on how they assemble it, but it sits in there super tight. But as you can see, I have my dash panel in, and I need to put my glove box back in and reassemble the rest of this, which is pretty straightforward. So I'm not going to bore you guys with the details. Let me put my glove box back in and the rest of the stuff here. I'm going to do a quick wipe down on these panels right where you can't really reach them once the panel's in. And we should be good to go. Okay, so that's it in terms of this round of modifications on the Jeep. Let me know what you guys think. Just trying to make this truck drive a little bit better and look a little bit better, right some wrongs that Jeep should have done in the first place. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.